easier for accountants and other people in administrative kind of capacities, banks, others, you'll be able to take your cryptocurrency into the Royal Bank and use it as collateral to buy a house. That's coming. It's not there yet. You can't do that yet, but that's coming. So again, I know I sound like a broken record, but to say this is now is the time to leverage in, even if you're paying higher, as long as you're leveraging on a steady, regular basis. Wayne did a presentation, what was that, like 2 years ago now? About cost average investing with crypto, and he had a spreadsheet so he was able to compare it, and he started at the very worst month that there was for crypto. So okay, it's been at its highest high now. Let's start from there and let's go for, what did you do, 9 months I think, and then a year or something?
I was doing 2-year increments.
2-year increments, okay. So in almost every scenario it was ahead. And if you waited another 2 years, it was ahead like astronomically. So you know,
until now.
Well, it'd be crazy. You wouldn't be there anymore because you'd own an island somewhere.
Oh yeah.
You know, basically, we all were there. So yeah, and what'll happen now is as this regulation starts coming in, more people are going to start leveraging in, bigger money starts coming in. Bitcoin in general, and I generally talk about Bitcoin mostly, and I have been talking a little bit more about Ethereum as well over the last little while, but primarily Bitcoin. There's only so much of that pie to get, and there's not that much really left if you account for all the lost cryptocurrency that's out there in the world. And I think you told me it was like around 30% or something. Yeah, so 30% lost, and after that you figure out what's left. And it's in with the ETFs that are going in now and the large wealth individuals that are all of a sudden discovering this as an investment class. All these people start getting involved, and before you know it, the scarcity goes like crazy. And when that happens, it's supply and demand. It's just like anything, the price will go up. But we don't know if that is going to happen in 6 months or in 6 years. It's really at that kind of a scale. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. And I've been involved with people and groups that have had AIs running to do some of the predictive analysis of this stuff, and some are successful, some aren't. And a good trader is usually as successful or more successful than most AIs now. It's just that they can't function 24/7, 7 days a week. That's where AIs get to be the advantage in that scenario. Okay, so regulatory. Let's go on to the next part. The need for regulation. So that's when things happen like FTX. Did anybody lose money in FTX? Yeah, okay.
Celsius.
Okay, well, which is a direct result of FTX. And you know, so these kind of things could easily be avoided, and in that scenario, really regulation is a good thing. Like if you can easily avoid people losing a substantial amount of money, which, you know, if it's a big fund or something, well, I'm sure they could write it off and it doesn't really cost them any money, but for an average individual, this is money right out of your pocket that you had one day and the next day it's gone. And you trusted the you trust the institution that was handling that money, and FTX is a great example of that. So we'd start to see a little better consumer protection. And I don't think you'll ever see something like you do in Canada where banks will guarantee a certain amount of value to accounts, but maybe something more along those lines, and maybe some of the banks will get involved, and I don't know, who knows what'll happen, but it does create a little more trust, as there is things that people can agree to. You know, like you're no longer guessing about what the regulations are and how they're going to change or how they're going to be. You can plan your future. Like I got to tell you, being involved in this industry is pretty scary because you never know from one year to the next how the regulations or how the climate's going to change, or how, you know, a different political party will change the way the outlook is. And that's not only just here, it's in the States as well. Everybody involved in the crypto industry is always on pins and needles because they don't know what's going to happen. There's no clear definitive rules. So how can you play a game when there's no rules and they say, oh yeah, that's good, just yeah, go ahead, you're doing well. And then 3 or 4 or 5 years later they come back and they say, no, you did that all wrong. Well, you told me that was okay. Well, yeah, but it was okay then, it's not okay now. And this happens a lot. I know it sounds weird, but it does happen a lot where they'll just change the rules on you. So, you know, you've got a little bit of an issue with crypto too, and with crypto in general, is just the fact that it can change so fast. Like people can fire up something new. It can be up and running in a matter of weeks or months, and that project, if it gets legs, can be worth multi-millions or sometimes even billions of dollars in a very, very short space of time. So the traditional kind of finance and regulatory bodies that are out there right now, both in Canada and US, they don't know what to do. Like they can't move that fast. That's the amount of time it takes them to organize a meeting. Like, you know, whereas people have released new technology, they've changed finance, they've got interest rates, they've got loans, they've got everything that a traditional kind of financial company can do is now being reproduced in crypto and blockchains. So they don't know what to do. How do you keep up with something like that? Well, you can't hire the people that created that kind of stuff because they have too much money and they've never worked for the government. So you're really behind in technology. So you hire the young students that are coming out, you try and pay them way more than the traditional startups can, and you hope you can get some talent, but they're still years behind. So market manipulation, yeah, that's another thing where maybe regulation might help a little bit. Some people will argue that based on what conspiracy theory that you subscribe to, that the stock exchange is still being controlled to this day. But there's clear evidence that, in the early days of the stock exchange, there definitely was manipulation and control. So that's happening in crypto now. Most of us that have been involved in it for a while, again, know that that's what's been happening for a while, because there's been some things that just haven't made sense. They've just, they just haven't made sense. So regulation could help with something like that too. And it may stabilize the market, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Like, we all love that crypto jumps up 200, 300, 400%. But in the same token, in the same token, it can also go the other way very quickly as well. And with some kind of a regulation in place that may balance things out a little bit. It may slow things down a bit too. And maybe at some point we might get up to the stage where the government can somehow start to get their mind around this innovation without stifling it, because this is a real fear. Other countries that are adopting a more positive crypto stance are really looking like the superstars here. They're attracting the young talent, and some of these third world countries now may just end up owning a lot of the blockchain technology because they've got the talent there. They're offering free, tax-free havens for people. Like El Salvador is one. But I mean, it's not in their best interest for it not to do well if you're investing heavily. So if they buy it all, arguably if they get enough, they can control the price. Right now, ironically enough, MicroStrategy, which used to be Michael Saylor's company, is no longer with it, but they own 1% of all the Bitcoin in existence now. Think about that one. It's a lot.
Point about El Salvador. The Bitcoin that the El Salvadorians have is El Salvador's Bitcoin.
So it's not
No, it's not the individual's Bitcoin. They have a wallet that's hooked up for El Salvador, so El Salvador is backing their country with Bitcoin. So any Bitcoin that you send to a person in El Salvador, if they don't have a Trezor or a separate wallet, it goes into the government coffer.
Yeah, it's a closed system.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a closed system. But you got to remember that up until this point, their currency literally has had no value. So at least now they do have a value because it's backed in Bitcoin. And they just recently stated that they're going to buy 1 Bitcoin a day until until they won't be able to afford to buy 1 Bitcoin a day as a country.
Right.
That's what they're...
Apparently their country is supposedly becoming worth more value than any other country of that size.
Yeah.
With the backing of Bitcoin.
I heard that you can become a citizen if you donate 1 Bitcoin to the country.
I didn't hear that one, no. Well, why not? I mean, really, for a country, it makes sense. And that's part of what we're talking about here right now as well. If you get Canada heavily involved in cryptocurrency and hopefully Bitcoin and other large currencies, that's a good thing. Like that, us as a country will stand strong because of that. If we start endorsing, which by the way, that's been my #1 theme song for the last little while to everybody I can talk to, is in any way you can try and resist any kind of country CBD. CBDC. CBDC, yeah. There's 2 different things there, but yeah, country-based digital currency, right? And we'll talk about that in a minute, because Australia, I'm going to talk about that in a slide or 2 from now, because Australia is starting to adopt it and several other countries are as well. But when this comes to Canada, we have to push back with everything that we have, because in China, when this happened, they were able to geofence people, which means they could turn off their currency in certain places and turn it on in other currencies in other places.
Transit system.
Including transit systems. So you can't go.
is, because your
That's a
currency
credit
won't
score.
work.
That's a credit score.
No, we're talking about a digital currency.
Yes, but it's backed by the
Yeah.
credit
That's the
score.
same
Yeah,
thing.
yep, exactly, yeah.
So this is what open
So-
banking is too. So when you
But
get-
this is what they're trying to promote for even for us here. Let's hope that we never get to that point. If they start trying to take away cash, we have to, even out there on a day-to-day basis, if you see places that say we no longer accept cash, well, guess what? Don't deal with them anymore.
Yeah.
Don't deal with them anymore. And make sure you do that, because even on a small scale, if people started, paying attention to this, we could make a difference. And it's
That's our only peer-to-peer system that we have right now using fiat currency.
anybody familiar with what's going on with the European Union with the MiCA regulations?
With the what?
MiCA, M-I-C-A.
That
Yeah.
might be,
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called.
Well, it's just a set of regulations that are going across the European Union. They're trying to get a regulatory body for cryptocurrency and consumer protection and financial stability, basically, like we were talking about earlier. A way to protect people from the evil crypto that might infest their lives. And I'm sure that would come along with them offering to take care of it for you, because if you look at the very next one, United Kingdom is already promoting crypto, but guess what they're promoting crypto as? CBDCs again.
Yeah.
So we are pro crypto. We believe in crypto. They're not saying Bitcoin, they're not saying Ethereum, they're not saying what we would consider to be cryptocurrencies. They're talking about their own centralized systems. So, they're trying to bridge that gap by just saying, hey, being involved in our great country currency, you now then can send your Bitcoin to this. That's step one of getting it away from people, just like they did. What year was that? Anybody know the year where they started saying it was illegal to own gold? 70? Where they started actually going to people and taking back their gold.
With him we can't go wrong. Governments and banks, they try to clamp on, but Bitcoin mon's here. His results so strong.